Welcome to yet another episode of Mr. Vamos Dissects. It's a chilly Saturday here in Chanja at Calibas Bar and Lodging. Your one-stop area for refreshment. The Premier League is back. German Bundesliga is back. All sports action can be caught from Chanja, just exactly below the loco on the border stage after Chanja Supermarket. Slope down, take a left, and you'll find yourself at the spot. Very interesting scenery, very interesting place to catch a drink or two with friends and all that. So find time and come through and support and check out the place. Well, it's been a minute since we was on set. Very many weddings have been taking us here and there. But yeah, I think you guys are getting married a lot recently. I was telling a friend the other day that you might find yourself in church on a wedding that you probably didn't know you were done getting married, but at the end of the day you guys got a lock in. Well, in today's episode we're going to be talking about lots and lots of action in Europe. Like to talk about the Uganda Premier League, but I don't know the conversation around town recently is, do we boycott the league, or do we take part and support the league? There's been a new whole system in the UPL that's really crazy. I'm not actually in support of it because it's crazy. I don't know where these guys are getting all this money to spray, but the attendance for the games yesterday actually showed that things are not moving Kawa. But we'll see. We'll wait and see. For those of you who are new on the channel, basically talk about football here. Anything about football and sports, we're going to be giving it to you, and maybe a few content creations here and there. So please don't leave the channel without pressing the subscribe. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to be a part of the good things that we're cooking on here. Yeah. So we're just going to touch a few games in England, we're going to touch a few games in Germany, Italy, Spain, and then we'll get you guys the MLS. Yeah, very many people have been saying we've been MIA for a while, but yeah, we're actually back. I think the schedule and calendar was cleared, and now we're going to kick the corner until we feel bad. Well, of course, we would like to start from the biggest league, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, the English Premier League. Early kickoff today, Brentford takes on Man United at home. Last encounter between these two sides, Brentford went on to beat Man United 4-3. I think the last fixture of the season. Yeah. Important to note that, of course, Brentford has had an overhaul of players in there. Well, they've brought in many and they've lost many as well. Yeah, everything said from Ivan Toney going the other season, and now they've lost an Imbuemo in there. They've lost a Christian Nogard. They've lost a Johan Wissa. Yeah, Johan Wissa still out injured, waiting to make his debut for Newcastle. Brian Buemo went to Man United. This is going to be an interesting comeback to a side that he helped to come from Championship and back. Well, Brentford and Man United has been a tie where Man United has struggled, and the important statistic here is that Ruben Amorim, since he's in his last 10 months as Man United, hasn't won back-to-back games. There's a guy who promised to cut off his hair after Man United wins 5 straight games. I think that bad man is I think he should schedule himself to keep that afro until he feels bad. I don't know if this side is about to win back-to-back games, but if I was giving you guys a prediction, I think Man United does not lose this game against Brentford. Yeah, I think basing on the character that they showed against Chelsea, I think this squad comes through and takes a win from these Brentford guys. Yeah, I've been seeing one of the guys that Brentford bought, Dango Watara, a kid who I've been following for a long time, and then a William, and then a Carvalho that struggled flatter to deceive at Fulham and Liverpool, and is now inside there. Has been making cameos off the bench. They will be a tricky side to face. I think for Man United, we will be, of course, the tabloids and media has been spoken about maybe their new goalkeeper getting a debut inside that one, because Bayindir has been making very many mistakes in that one. But I think Man United takes this win for me. I think the performance against Chelsea, leave aside the red card that happened, and maybe I like to think about the defense being very aggressive as it was. You saw Maguire and Delete getting into the tackles there. And then, of course, Man United will be without Amad Diallo, Nuz Mazraoui, who is going to be back after the international break. Diallo on personal reasons, but I think I've been calling a Benjamin Sesko goal for since I can remember, but I think this is the moment. Yeah, I'm going to call this live on set. I've been calling it on Twitter and WhatsApp, but I think a Matias Cunha and a Brian Matias Cunha and Benjamin Sesko combine inside that one to get the guy his first goal. Yeah, so straight prediction for you guys inside this one: Man United 2-1. Yeah, take nothing away from like the whole supporting the team and all that, but I think they get the points inside this one. Chelsea takes on Brentford. So Brentford, interestingly, has won its last games against Chelsea, and now Chelsea, there's this thing about Chelsea where when they lose a game, they begin to lose games consistently. I don't know if that's the word that we gotta use today. So Chelsea lost against Man United. They've been hit by a blow of Cole Palmer, who is the coldest finisher in the Premier League, I presume, being out injured inside that one. Of course, Liam Delap is still out injured. Their goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez, will be suspended. Then Jorgensen will be playing. I think their goalkeeping department must be. I don't want to say it's the worst because I think Robert Sanchez is pretty decent, but Jorgensen, I think he still has a lot of sports and things to learn about the league. Brighton, on the other hand, is a very tricky customer for most of the big sides in the Premier League. You got to see Minte scoring a goal last weekend in that one. Minte is a player that actually does a lot of things. I'd probably consider him to be like Noni Madueke. He does a lot of things on the right hand side, and then the output is not covered. But he scored a very beautiful goal, I think, against Man City, if I'm not mistaken. And then this is a Brighton side that their coach is actually a young man, but he's been bringing in very many players in the team, and they've been doing stuff. Of course, Chelsea went on to buy Buenanote from Brighton, and I don't really think he's a very impactful player like that. But if I was to give you guys a prediction inside that one, I think it's either Brentford win or a draw. I don't see Chelsea getting back to winning ways, at least not today, yeah. And then Palace takes on Liverpool. Palace has become a giant killer recently over the past 2 seasons. That Padman, their coach, has actually put a formidable side that is actually cooking the big teams inside that one. They beat Liverpool to win silverware last season inside that one. And then they've been torturing all the big teams. They beat Man City, I think, in the Carabao Cup final. They beat Liverpool in another final or something like that. Well, of course, they lost Eberechi Eze inside there, but I think this side is still formidable. I think Jean-Philippe Mateta gets a goal against Liverpool. But to give you guys a prediction in this one, Liverpool is still rock solid. Yeah, Alexander Isak must probably be in contention to get his first start for the side because Hugo Ekitike went on to get a very silly red card the other day, and that red card actually pulled through to the Premier League. So I think Alexander Isak gets his first start for the Liverpool side, yeah, and then of course take nothing away from Ryan Gravenberch. I think he's the freshest midfielder in the Premier League as we speak. So I think this will be it's not going to be a game of like very many goals and all that, because also of course Crystal Palace as well knows how to frustrate those big teams, and then it knows how to probably get a goal inside that one. But to give you guys a prediction, Liverpool, remember, is straight wins in the Premier League. I think they have 5 or 6 straight wins inside that one. We're still looking for a team that will crack them. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, has not lost in like 7 games. So this is going to be a tie of, and now both of these two teams have not lost in the Premier League yet. So, but I will directly tell you that one of these two teams will lose the game today. And I think I'll give you guys a Liverpool X. Yeah, either Liverpool win or a draw in that one. Again, in the Premier League, we still have Man City, Burnley. Burnley has not beaten Man City in 17 games. That is not about to change tomorrow. Put put your money on an Erling Haaland brace against Burnley today. It will not be an easy opposition. Burnley knows how to lock the bus. Last time they played against Liverpool, I told a friend of mine that by the time it clocked 70, Burnley would have swallowed 3, but that game ended 1-0 in the 98th minute controversial penalty in there. But then Man City, Burnley is a no-brainer. That's an automatic Man City win for you guys. Spurs is taking on Wolves. Wolves has flattered to deceive this season. They're rock bottom of the league. Spurs, I think, I think this new coach for Spurs is cooking sports since that one. Yeah, Thomas Frank. Somehow I like you guys to keep your eyes on Xavi Simons. I've been watching Xavi Simons since he made his debut for Spurs, and I think there's a lot of football inside him. The goals haven't come through yet, but then he's showing a lot of football, a lot of sports inside that one. There's very many defenders that he's cooking inside that one. I think he gets his first goal for Spurs in this one against Wolves. I don't see where the threat for Wolves comes from because, of course, Matthias Cunha, who was their spark, actually went on to get to Man United. So I'll give you guys a Spurs win inside that one. And then when we get into Germany, I think the two games I'd pick for you would be Mainz and Dortmund. Dortmund has gone 5 games without losing. Yeah, this is something they've not been doing over the past few seasons inside that one. And then Mainz, on the other hand, last season went through and shocked them with a 3-0 inside that one. But I think Mez now, Seru Girassi is a guy who is on fire recently. Adeyemi is a guy that's going to cook sports anytime. Joe Bellingham is still struggling to get himself playing for Dortmund because there's a lot of firepower in that Dortmund side. So I'd give you guys a Dortmund win or draw inside that one. Take nothing away from men's. But you expect maybe men's might also score a goal inside that one. But a Dortmund win or draw. And then another game that you'd keep your eyes on is St. Pauli taking on Leverkusen. Interestingly, St. Pauli is actually in the top five teams in the German Bundesliga. Yeah, this is a side that was promoted recently. And now Leverkusen, of course, after firing Eric Ten Hag, they've not really been making the points properly, but they've not lost games since they brought on the new coach. I think the coach from Iceland inside that one. Interesting to note is that, of course, Patrick Schick has not been unlocked yet, but they have, I keep forgetting the name of that guy, that defender of theirs that has been scoring free kicks week in, week out. Grimaldo in it. Well, Grimaldo is a player that was actually attracting interest from very many sides, but he didn't really make the transfer inside that one. He's actually scored 3 free kicks since the new coach came in. So I think this game is going to be an interesting one, but I'll give you guys a Leverkusen win or draw. Take it or leave it, yeah? Then when we get to Italy, the biggest tie on Saturday will be Juventus taking on Atlanta. Atlanta, the only thing I know about Atlanta this season is they're still benching Ademola Lookman. He still has contract talks and all that. They're trying to suppress him and all that. I've not really seen a spark in that Atlanta side ever since Gasperini left the side. But in Juventus, I think Juventus this season will be cooking a lot of spots. Yeah, they haven't lost a game this season and they went on to buy a lot of firepower. For very many of you that play FIFA, EFC 26, I'm looking forward to using that Juventus side. Yeah, they actually went on to buy a Jonathan David. Of course, Vlahovic ever present. They went and bought a kid from they bought a kid from Lille, the Bosnian kid who actually didn't play for like a whole season. I think he's called Zegova or something. His name skips me a bit, but this Dortmund side is actually cooking a lot of sports. Yeah, in this game, it's going to be a game. It won't have very many goals in it, but I'll give you guys a Juventus win or a draw. Yeah, and then Como takes on Cremonese. I like to pick out Como because it's a side that's being coached by Cesc Fabregas. These guys have been cooking a lot of spots inside that one. They have a wonder kid in Nico Paz who drew a lot of interest. I think he's a kid from Madrid. I think they want to trigger back the close to buy him or something. But Fabregas is cooking a lot of spots inside the Italian league. Yeah, and interesting to notice just the press conference, the things that he does after the game ends about like motivating his boys and all that after games end. So I'll give you guys a Como win or a draw. Yeah, Cremonese, I'll be looking to see maybe if Jamie Vardy can get off the mark inside that one for his new side, but I don't see where they get the points from in it. Cagliari takes on Inter Milan. I don't want to even talk a lot about this fixture, but I think Inter Milan takes this one away. I think Thuram gets a goal inside that one, yeah? That's an automatic Inter Milan win. It's a straight win I'll give you guys, yeah? And then when we get to France, I think France is a very unpredictable league. Yeah. The other day Lyon went on Friday night football. I think they won a narrow 1-0 win in a game where people thought they were going to like lock in with very many goals and all that. Lorient actually takes on Monaco. Yeah. Monaco is a side that we've been looking to see if Paul Pogba will be unleashed. He's not played football in like 2 years. Very interesting signing that they made. But in Monaco, they went on to buy Ansu Fati. This is a player that has been hampered by injuries and all went to Barcelona, put on the shirt number 10, Messi shirt, and flattered to deceive. He's actually scored 3 goals for Monaco. 3 goals for Monaco in his like 2 cameos. Yeah. So this is a player that I think is going to bring in the goals for Monaco. Yeah. But now in this fixture, Lorient is actually a very tricky opposition. Yeah. Now they like to level up when they're playing big games like this. But I'll give you guys a Monaco win or a draw. PSG takes on Auxerre. PSG actually has five, five, five starters that are injured. Usman Dembele. They have Bradley Bakola injured. Desiree Doué is out injured. So like, because I watched the game against Marseille the other day where Marseille beat them for the first time in like 10 years or something, and well, it looked like Charlie Techigua Bolonji, like there was something missing. They need a lot of firepower inside that one. But I don't think Auxerre becomes a problem for you. I think PSG straight win inside that one for you. And then I just give you guys a bonus inside that one. When we get to the MLS, Toronto takes on Inter Miami. Inter Miami right now boasts of, I think, has a lot of pedigree in the team. It has like I think they have the worst defense in Europe. Yeah, I've watched those guys play defense, and there's like, I don't know if they're betting inside that defense, but they concede goals that that even a side that is playing Division 10 cannot concede. Yeah, but they have the league's top scorer, Lionel Messi. Luis Suarez is back from a 3-game ban. They have a Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, who is actually retiring soon. And they have a Rodrigo Di Paul, Messi's bodyguard. Toronto, on the other hand, hasn't won in like 5 encounters in like 5 games there. So I think just to give you a bonus instead that one, I'll give you guys a straight Inter Miami win. Now that will wrap up the games on Saturday. Tell me what you think about the predictions inside that one. But I think that wraps up the Saturday predictions. And then you will notice that some of the Sunday games don't really have the pinch of like an Arsenal, Barcelona, and all that. Well, Sunday is going to be interesting. Yeah, we have an Arsenal taking on Newcastle, rather Newcastle taking on Arsenal. Well, this is a game where Arsenal has won its last 2 games against Newcastle. Yeah, and then Newcastle this season has kept the most clean sheets in the Premier League, but they've not really been winning games like that in it. So Arsenal taking on Newcastle. The last time Arsenal played against Man City, I think that's a game where Mikel Arteta actually, I think Arteta likes to gamble. Yeah, Arteta overworked with Guardiola, and now he wants to borrow a lot of things from his book, which I think do not work in an Arsenal side, which has actually recruited all these players in the goalkeeping department. They have players in the defense, players in the midfield, players in the wing, players in the strike. Well, for us, Noni Madweke was actually ruled out for, I think, 2 months or something. I think Madweke has been cooking sports for us. The output has been the same. He's not really been like delivering goals or assists and all that, but I think he's been a spark for someone that has been playing second fiddle to a Bukayo Saka who has been injured. I think he actually played his part. Bukayo Saka is actually back fit. Bukayo Saka, I think, is one of those Arsenal players that are ever so reliable. By the time he cuts through and gets onto his left foot on that right in that right wing, then click bang, that's a goal for you. Yeah. Victor Jokeres, I think he's still lacking a bit of supply inside that one. And now for a Victor Jokeres who needs someone that's going to feed him, like an Ebereche Eze, in the last game that they played, Mikel Arteta went on to start Leandro Trossard. Well, Leandro Trossard is not a bad player, but I think Leandro Trossard is those players that come off the bench and make an impact. He can't have an immediate impact when he starts on the game. I've watched very many of Trossard's game, and when he comes off the bench, he's actually going to cook a lot of spots. Been a lot of buzz during the week. I saw guys saying that Gabriel Martinelli is actually supposed to be a 9. Arsenal fans, I think let's be honest with ourselves. Yeah, for a person who is a speedster and keeps running on the left wing position and does not deliver like that, how do you expect him to come to the strike and deliver, right? Well, I don't want us to be mistaken. I don't want us to be overshadowed by the fact that he scored the equalizer at the Etihad, and then when they were playing Bilbao, he came off the bench and scored a goal in a position that he found himself in because of the pace and all that. He was the only one who was going to make that runner. He was the only one going to be a runner to make that goal against Bilbao. So me, I think Arteta should stop overthinking in it. Arteta should get back to the basics. I think this Arsenal side is looking very good. I think the transfers that they made, I think this transfer window must have been 100% for them. I think this game should be a no-brainer. Odegaard is out injured, I get that. Maybe let's start a Martinelli on the left. Let's start Ebereche Eze behind the striker. Bukayo Saka is back fit. Let him play on his right side position. Let Victor Gyökeres cook. I don't think Martinelli is going to release a lot of those balls for the striker, but I think Eze will really unlock the striker. That assist he did for Martinelli showed you that he knows how to pick his pattern. He's a bowler in it. So again, also I saw there's controversy against ahead of Mosquera was not picked ahead of Saliba, but you guys forget that Saliba has pocketed Erling Haaland for like 3 seasons. Yeah, I somehow feel for the coach inside that one. I probably figured the coach thought that Erling Haaland was going to board him Mosquera. Haaland didn't really play a lot of spots in that game, apart from that run that he made and looked like those Arsenal guys look like termites. Yeah, but back to the game, Arsenal takes on Newcastle. I think Arsenal continues his business as usual. Newcastle has this thing of quick Karakasa on big teams. The only good thing about this game is that both of these sides have a very good press. Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton are going to press you until you ask for water. Arsenal, on the other hand, their motivator in the press, Odegaard, is out injured. But I think Declan Rice does it. I'm still trying to figure out which football Zubi Mendy is playing. There's no chemistry between him and Rice. But I'll give you guys an Arsenal win or a draw. Worst case scenario, a draw, yeah? And then we have an Aston Villa taking on a Fulham. Yeah, Aston Villa is a side that actually made a couple of signings. They made pretty decent signings inside that one. It's Jordan Sancho Martinez signed a new contract. They bought a Victor Lindelof inside that one. They lost a Leon Bailey. I don't know why they're not really making points inside that one. They haven't won a game in the Premier League this season. And now I'll start with the prediction. I don't think Aston Villa gets the points against Fulham. Fulham has actually, aside from I think they've lost like one game inside that one, they've been rock solid. Get you an Alex Iwobi, he's going to cook you on any day. And then there's that kid, I think Williamson, that comes through as a sub on the left hand side. I think that kid has a lot of trickery, player, pace, and everything. So in this game, I think Fulham win or draw. Aston Villa, sorry, I don't think you're about to make the points. Oli Watkins came on as a sub the other day, gave him a penalty, and he took the penalty in the middle. I don't know, maybe he's missing on confidence and all that, but I'll give you a Fulham win or draw. In Spain, Barcelona takes on Real Sociedad. Barcelona has won all its games, yeah, in the La Liga. But well, notably, they've lost, I think, 3 players through injury. Gavi went back to his knee injuries. I think this boy's career is on the verge of ending. Rafinha out for 3 weeks, in it. Lamine Yamal is still out injured. I think he has some uncoordinated injuries. I don't know if it's women or something, but he's still out injured. So now, of course, Ferran Torres is going to be, I think, the main man. This coach likes to twitch in a lot of like kids in the team and all that and mix all that and all that. So Shadad hasn't won games recently. So I expect, of course, Barcelona takes that win. It's not going to be easy, but I expect a Rashford cameo inside that one, yeah. And then Real Betis takes on Osasuna. I pick out this game because of Anthony Santos in it. And then of course there's this Betis side. This Betis side went on to pick a draw against Nottingham Forest in the Europa League. Yeah. I think Anthony Santos plays for the badge for Betis because I think these boys have given him the confidence to cook sports again. Yeah. They've asked an Osasuna side that is actually tricky on the day. When Osasuna picks you on a day, you can actually ask for water. The only problem is they don't really know how to close out games. So I'll give you guys a Betis win or draw, give or take. And then I just forgot to say, we have the Madrid derby. Atletico Madrid is taking on Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid went on to beat, I think, Deportivo Alaves 3-2 the other day in a game where a former Man City striker Julian Alvarez went on to score a hat-trick. In the previous weeks, Alvarez has not found the back of the net, and guys had begun to question. I think, man, being a fan is really crazy. Guys had begun to question his goal scoring ability and all that. But if you guys can go back and watch the hat trick that he scored against Alaves, it shows you that class is permanent. I think if you know your things, you know your things. Yeah, they face a Real Madrid side that has won 6 games on the bounce. A Real Madrid 6 or 7 games. A Real Madrid side where Xabi Alonso has changed his squad for 7 straight games. Yeah, you're not guaranteed of a start in that Real Madrid side. The Real Madrid side where Rodrigo is no longer playing. Rodri is not playing. Rodrigo is not playing sports anymore. It's a side where there's a new kid they go boat called Mastonto. That kid, eh? That kid is something. He's going to be something for Argentina. It's a side where Kylian Mbappe is now the top scorer of the Spanish La Liga. There's that kid that was playing the games before, but he's actually not smelt. And Mbappe is actually cooking. Jude Bellingham is actually being on the bench. Valverde is not getting constant stats. So these ties have been interesting over the years, yeah? Atletico wins some ties, Real Madrid wins some ties, but Real Madrid usually wins the major of those games. Well, like I said, Real Madrid has not lost a game before. This is the biggest test that Xabi Alonso faces in his helm at Real Madrid. But I think Real Madrid takes the win for me. Worst case scenario, Real Madrid win or draw in that one, yeah? And then in Italy, we have AC Milan taking on Napoli. Ever since Massimiliano Allegri went to AC Milan, they've been cooking sports, yeah? I like to use that cooking sports because it's like the best word that I can use to like describe how beautifully people are playing. Yeah, AC Milan has been buying very many players in very many windows. They bought Luka Modric, Santi Jimenez the last season, but he's been missing a lot of chances inside that one. Yep, and well, they've actually went and won 3 out of 4 games. Yeah, they've not been convincing wins. Christian Pulisic is cooking sports and all that, but they verse a Napoli side that, when Antonio Conte looks into a league and he gets to understand the dynamics of the league, he's not an easy man to play against. Antonio Conte has a Kevin De Bruyne to look up to for goals. He has a Scott McTominay who is now Terminator, who is now cooking sports inside that one. But a Rashmash Hoyland, who I believe will score goals in the Italian league because there's not a lot of pressure and media inside that one. You probably have a stinker in Italy and they will not question you for what you're playing, yeah? Flattered to deceive the last time out, but then of course they bought Lorenzo, I think Luca from, I think that's maybe Udinese or something, a striker that actually scored a beautiful goal. And now for Antonio Conte as a coach, he's a coach I like because he likes to support his players. The celebration he makes with his players is something that you like to do. I think this game ends. This game is going to be, I think put your money on two goals to be scored over 1.5. But I also think Napoli win or draw, worst case scenario. Roma takes on Verona. Roma has been very solid ever since Gasparini went to Roma. I think he's been cooking inside that one. Roma went on to beat Lazio the last time out 1-0 in a derby. And now I think teams, if you want to begin competing for the league, you have to be winning derbies like this one. My notable mention for Roma would be that Ivory Coast defender Ndika. That boy has been rock solid. Of course, with their goalkeeper Shvila, who has been rock solid since last season. I think he even won the Golden Glove in Italy. Yeah, they take on a Verona side who is a very tricky opponent on their day as well. But I think Roma will take the win inside here. Straight win for you. And then I'll give you guys another bonus in the MLS. I've been watching the MLS league recently, but I think it's a very easy league to cook in if you want to go and put in goals. So I'm thinking if Ronaldo goes to the MLS right now, we'll be fire in it. So another game I'll give you guys is St. Louis taking on LAFC. The reason why I picked this game is because that's the side where Heung-min Son went in and he found their all-time scorer, Boanga. Boanga, I think, is a guy from Gabon. Yeah, Son scored a hat trick in his, I think, in the game, his second last game, and then he scored a goal and an assist inside that one. So I'll give you guys a straight win in that one for LAFC. It's a side that also had Gareth Bale over the years. It had Carlos Vela. This is a side that likes to pick talent from Europe. So I don't know what you guys think about my predictions. I don't know if you differ from them. I don't know if they'll help you out. But it's been nice to get back on set, yeah. Don't forget to support people like Cardiff Medical Center, all your medical needs and everything. But everything revolves around Charger recently. So yeah. And then I'll ask again, are we boycotting the Uganda Premier League or are we watching the Uganda Premier League? Yeah, because personally the teams I'll be rooting for this season, you are of course, my guy Joshua Lubwama, and then Senkatuka inside that one goal. I'm only rooting for him because he had a bad season the last time out at Solito Bright Stars, and I really hope he cooks. Get to KCCA. I said that I was supporting from campus. The Hunter, yeah, Ivan Ahimbisiwe is another guy that I'm rooting for to cook sports inside that one. And then, of course, ever so reliable, Paul Muturezi, NEC FC. I'm actually looking for their jersey. One of you guys should plug me that jersey. I really need it badly. Yeah, it's been nice. It's been real. Mr. Vamos is still alive for those of you that have been looking for me. Don't forget to at us. Don't forget to give us what you think about the episodes. Don't forget, if you want to come and speak sports. The other day, someone called me, was complaining about Ruben Amorim and all that. So I'd give you guys a platform. Worry not. If you want to do any advertising or anything, hit me up and we'll cook something for you guys. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. It's been nice. It's been real. Vamos. We go again.